Hello everyone, welcome to this video on an English on Porto. As today we're going to do another combined 11. Now back in October I did one of these with Mr. Benfica himself, Mikey, and we've got another big game coming up this coming week. That's against Sporting CP, and why not do this again? And we've got Sam Fonseca back on. Welcome on.
Yeah, thank you. Two very good teams, especially at this moment in time. I think there are some very obvious choices and some not so obvious choices. So it'll be interesting. Thank you again for inviting me back on. I had fun the last time. So yeah, I'm sure we'll do well again.
It's great to have you on, and let's get this fired up. And formation-wise, it's got to be either a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. I've got players that I can adapt my picks to either formation. So, what are you thinking?
I'm happy to stick with the 4-3-3, and if we need to maybe jostle some players around or move some players around, we can do that. But I'm happy to go with 4-3-3 to start.
So let's start at the back with the goalkeeper. Got two Uga goalkeepers with Diogo Costa and Rui Silva. Sam, would it be a lazy argument for me to say Diogo Costa is the first choice for Portugal, so therefore he gets the edge?
Yeah, and I think this season, I think Porto's defence have got a lot of the plaudits of how well they've been. But I've watched the last few games of Porto, and even against Casapia, I know the result didn't go your way, but he made some huge saves against Vitória Guimarães as well. He made that fantastic save off the line. He shows up in big games for Porto as well. That's nothing against Rui Silva as well. I love Rui Silva, but I think this season, in terms of individual performances, Diogo Costa's in there for me.
So yeah, already want to get through already. Up next, the right back position. I think after this point, I'm not as confident with some of the others, but I'm going to throw Alberto Costa into the ring. Do you have anyone from the Sporting side to contest that?
So I would actually say right back is Sporting's weakest position on the entire pitch. I think Fresneda, I think has been better this season, but he's still, in my opinion, just a solid average player. There's nothing wrong with being an average player. A lot of people are. So again, I'm happy to concede to Alberto Costa. I'd even probably say Martin Fernandes, just because I don't really like Fresneda that much. I do think Vainidis eventually will become a good right back, but right now, I'm happy to go with Alberto Costa.
Yeah, got to get that one out of the way. Now, looking at the rest of your defence, they've had a lot of appearances throughout the season. Some are close to 30. There are many in the double figures. Centre-backs wise, what are you thinking? And I have one more Porto defender in mind, but he could play at left-back or centre-back. So where do your thoughts lie on the rest of the back line?
Yes, I'm in agreement with you. I personally put for Sporting, I think Diamonde has to be a lock in this back four. I think he's better than Inacio and Eduardo Quaresma and the best. So I'd go for Diamonde. And then I think, again, as much as Bednarek has been good, I think having Kirior at centre back alongside Diamonde is probably a better partnership than a Diamonde Bednarek would be. And I think it also gives us a opportunity to put someone in at left back, whoever that may be. But I think I would put Kirior at centre back personally.
And Kirior's played at a higher level in the Premier League than Bednarek has.
Yeah, and I think maybe not judged on the Casapia game, but you could probably make an argument for Thiago Silva in there and then Kirior on the left. But I think it's just a bit too early to judge Thiago Silva good or bad, really.
Yeah, and also about half the games that Silva and Bednarek have played together, there's been pacing issues. Left back, now that we've established where Kirior's going to go in this 11, would you put forward Max Arajo?
I believe he is probably the most underrated player in Sporting's team. So yeah, I would put Maxi Araujo in there. That third one, he's third there. Don't know why he's another face, but that is him.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure I didn't select Barca's one.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um,
Maxi for me. I know he can play on the wing as well, but I think in terms of how he's meant, because a lot of people were saying once Sporting would transition out of the back five, that Maxi would struggle, and I actually think he's probably been one of our most consistent players all season.
Now within the midfield, my thinking is to have both of the Danish players here, and then considering that Gonzalez is quite versatile, I'd have him on the left side of my midfield. And I bring up this whole section because one pick may easily make us have to make some readjustments.
Mhm.
But for now, I'm thinking Froholt, Hjulmand, and Gonzalez. What do you think?
So I would personally leave Pedro Gonzalez further up the pitch. I think he could probably play on the wing positions, and that's where I probably have him. I think Hjulmand and Froholt definitely get in. The third one is a question because as much as I like João Simões, I think even for Porto, I've had, Gabby Veiga has been pretty solid throughout the entire season. There are questions, obviously, on we all know how good Rodrigo Moura is as well. They could play in that midfield. As much as I do like Simões, I just don't think he would get into this team. So I'm happy to put in another Porto player. I'm just trying to think of which one I possibly go for, because I will say I think I really like Porto's midfield. I think it's very, very well balanced across the three.
No shout for Morita.
I think he's just too injury prone at this moment. He's actually the last few games he's been very good, but I think sometimes with an injury prone player, you're just waiting to be like, when is it going to happen?
Okay, I'm wondering whether if Hjulmand stays here, then I'd put Gabby Veiga, but you could also move Hjulmand over here and put Alan Varela, or
Yeah,
even
that's
have Varela here. Who
yeah,
would you say is better out of Veiga and Varela?
that's a good question. I would personally say right now probably Gabby Veiga.
Yep,
I think he's probably
happy
been
with
a bit
that.
more consistent than Alan Varela.
Now we can go, I suppose, a bit more simple by going position by position. On the right, I initially had Jenny Gatamo, but considering that there are two other attackers who can play either wide or in one of them's case in attacking midfield, and another one maybe could have gone midfield. The two players in mind that takes Gatamo off my list. So my thinking and wingers wise, definitely at the moment, Sporting CP are in a better place with that.
Yeah.
Recently, there's not been a lot of goal contributions for Porto in the past 2 months
Yeah.
from the wide players. So I think Sporting CP have a big advantage there. And considering that one of them, for me, he should go on the left, that leaves Trincao to go on at right wing.
The only other thing we could do is potentially if we get rid of Gabby Veiga and move that position as like a number 10 behind the striker, you could then put Trincao and then maybe free up a space for, if it's a Jenny or if it's a Porto winger on the right side, and then Pedro Gonzalez on the left.
As a matter of fact, I did do that.
Yeah, so I'm happy to concede that as well, because I think for me, in terms of overall impact, I think Trincao has been the best player in Portugal and probably the best player to watch in Portugal over maybe the last year, maybe year and a half if you don't count like a Gyökeres or someone like that. So I think Trincao was probably the first name. Maybe him and Diego Costa are the first names that I have on this team sheet.
That makes sense. On the left, and again, we might end up seeing how things pan out with a 4-2-3-1. But on the left, I would say Gonzalez.
Yeah, I would agree. I think even if we're looking at a team that's at full strength and we do move Trincao back, you can maybe say Giovanni Kenda back from injury, put him on either one of the wings as well. But yeah, for me, like you said, I think Porto's wingers are their weak point this year. Not to say that they're bad players. I just don't think I think Samu is suffering a little bit because he's not getting a lot of the service that maybe he should be getting. And, Borja Signs, for example, I don't think it's been that great. It's not been bad, but I think he's been phenomenal. So yeah, for me, I definitely have both of Sporting wingers in.
And Boysains was playing Championship football last season. The Porto's wingers haven't been what they were back in the late summer and the autumn. At striker, not too long ago, I would have been pretty confident to put Samu, but Luis Suarez has improved a lot and scored some big goals. So this is a pretty difficult one, and also currently a 5-5 split on players. I imagine we're going to hear a Luis Suarez defense, but I'll let you speak for yourself.
Well, the thing is, I really like Samu as a striker. I think he's really good. I think people are quick to say that maybe Pavlidis and Luis Suarez are the best in the league, but I think if Samu had the service of both of them strikers, I would say he'd definitely be up there. But I think in terms of on form, scoring against Paris Saint-Germain twice, scoring pretty much every other game in the league, being the top goal scorer of the league, although Luis Suarez feels like he misses 4 chances for every one he scores, and even against who did we play last weekend? I can't remember. That we won in the last minute from Luis Suarez. That's it, Nacional. And we won in the last minute. So without Luis Suarez goals, where would we be? And I think right now, based on form, I would go with Luis Suarez.
Yeah, that's checking the stats earlier today, and even trying to see if there were going off all competitions as well. And I suppose it's a little murky yet that when you get out to that stage, because I think Suarez has more appearances and more goals, and Samu maybe has a bit of a better shot efficiency, but it's quite hard to look past Suarez.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like Samu as a player and as a striker, but for me, I just think right now in form, in terms of form, I think Suarez has to be in there. That could change over the course of what the next 3-4 months we have in the league, but I think right now it has to be Luis Suarez.
So now that we have that team up, how do you reflect on? Do you think this is the right setup? But then afterwards, because we did talk about if it benefits the players, possibly changing to a 4-2-3-1. But what's your take?
So I think the base of the team is good. The only thing that, like I said, maybe is swapping Trincao and moving him as like a number 10. But then that leaves the question, who goes in? Because I know they're different wingers, but would you move Pedro Gonçalves to the right? And I know he didn't do well against Casapia, but William Gomez on the left, or someone like a Pepe on the right, and having Pedro Gonçalves on the left, or you just have Jenny or Kenda. I guess we'll do it right now, so I'll leave Kenda out, but maybe Jenny. But I think either way, it's a solid team. It just, I don't know. I think probably Trincao's most appearances in best form has been in that number 10 role. So potentially you get rid of Gabby Vega. But then I think, does that make it a bit too sporting heavy? Because Porto are first for a reason, and they've had the better players most of the season, I think. So I think it is a tough one.
Pave's missed a few too many chances, and whilst I'd say he was good with under Victor Bruno, he hasn't been the same since being with Conceição. I think if there was to be a Porto player on the right, it would be William Gomez. But then comes the question: is he a better player than Gabby Vega?
Or if you were to move Gary Vega's position up to a 10, do you put in Pablo Rosario because he's been on pretty decent form lately? Do you put him as the sort of number 10 in front of Hjulmand and Froholt, and then have Trincao and Pedro Gonçalves on the wing?
Before recording, I did wonder about having Froholt in that number 10 and having the wide players we got out there. But Portistas and anybody else watching, let us know what you would do in regards to this. I think the midfield for Porto has been stronger than players in the wide position, so I would be happy to keep this overall. And it looks like it sounds very happy. So let us know your thoughts. We will be doing a live preview coming up on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. And any final thoughts from you, Sam?
No, I think obviously I won't spoil too much of what we've said in the preview, but I think it's going to be a good game, and I think potentially I think you might agree that whoever wins on Monday will probably go on to win the title. But still lots of football to be played.
I would agree with that, and we shall see whether the players we've selected will perform. And yeah, as always, remember to subscribe, and all interaction is very much appreciated. And until the next time, Forza Porto.